Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie. Today's video, the long-awaited, I promised that I would do an Alberta mini unit from Gather Round Homeschool, Plan With Me. This is technically a post plan with me because we did complete this one, and I was planning on doing another unit, and then I totally didn't do another unit. Shh, that's okay. Um, it has been, this school year has been one of the years that I've just had not a lot of energy to put into my homeschool, and having like lots of plans completely. I can leave a link to my previous video where I was like changing my homeschool plans because of the season I'm in and giving myself permission to do so, which was very hard for me because I'm like, but I had a beautiful plan. So this one was a really, really good one, I think, for a multitude of reasons. And I think it's very funny. If you watch the news, there's a whole independence movement in Alberta to leave Canada. And so there's a lot of different things going on politically in Alberta. So there was a lot of discussions to be had, and this book doesn't address that at all because she wrote this before this was happening. But I thought it was very interesting to learn some of the history and stuff like that. So what I usually do in my plan with me is I talk about what we did, what assigned readers that I had. And for this year, you noticed that I didn't really have assigned readers for my Inara because she was doing English 10-1 online with our school board, and it went really, really well, and I'm thrilled that she did it. I needed the break from doing some of her marking for English and stuff, and it was really helpful to do that. But I have lost. I went looking for the book that she had, but it was about Mary Schaefer Warren, and she was a American Canadian woman who actually charted a lot of Banff. And so it was kind of cool and interesting to have my daughter read that. I know that I had her write a letter to the author, and I couldn't tell you if she completed it. That's literally how my last few months of homeschool has gone, because I was like, do you have it ready? Do you have it ready? And I think she might have handed it in, but it's probably in the piles that you can't see behind you, because I haven't gotten up the energy to actually go through and like fully close up our year. The girls are working on science and history that they have to catch up on because I wasn't on them like white on rice. So then they were like, well, we'll do that later. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm just like, whatevs. I still have more work to do, and so I'm just like, whatevs, I'll get to it when I get to it, which is funny. But yeah, because we live in Alberta, a lot of the books that I had for our magazine rack for them to just reference if they wanted to, I have so many. So it'll be fun to look at. But I've got tons of coffee table books when I have a proper living room and I have like places where I could put coffee table books. There'll be lots. But for our read aloud, we were going through this Alberta premiers of the 20th century. And I am very thrilled to be reading this book. It was very enlightening. There are things that I didn't quite realize even as an native Albertan. I grew up in Ontario, but we moved back when I was 15. And there was lots of things that I had not learned. And then when I was talking with other Albertans, neighbors and stuff, they were like, oh, I didn't realize that too. So a lot of the crankiness that's happening in Alberta actually stems back from our founding in 1905, which is kind of an interesting thing. I got this book from somebody who has, you know, those little cabinets on the side of people's properties, like take a book, leave a book sort of thing. I found this one. there. And I was like, how cool is that? So we haven't gotten through a lot because, like I said, one of the things that gets put by the wayside almost immediately when I'm dealing with life is read aloud time. But I do really want to read this book and get through it. And just politically, I think it's an astute book to read so that I can continue to guide my kids in this political realm that we find ourselves. We are also still reading the Answers book, number 2. I think I have a third one on the way. So in our magazine rack, what I had was this game from Professor Noggins was History of Canada. We didn't actually play it. We didn't. But I have it, and it was something that if we wanted to, we could do it. But like I said, a lot of the extras don't get dealt with. So this is the museum called Canada, 25 Rooms of Wonder. Amazing book. It's mostly about archaeological finds that they have discovered in Alberta. Definitely a book worth looking into. There's so many things that I want to do with my girls, and there's just not a lot of time. And I think that one of those things that we as parents of like homeschool parents want to do is do all the things with our kids. And there's so much going into our heads about what we need to do, what we're forgetting. And I've just gone to that place where I'm like, I have these reference books. If they're interested, then they are welcome to look at it. If they're not, no worries, because I cannot, I can't litigate our days. I can't. So one of the coffee table books was Canadian Landscapes. And again, it's just like lovely, gorgeous pictures that I myself go, I love it. So those types of things. Images. Oh, there's 2 there. Images of Canada. Another one that is, these are landscapes, but building landscapes. That's kind of wild horses in an island off the Nova Scotia, I think, or Halifax, Nova Scotia. Yeah, Sable Island, wild horses. So there's that. There's a Canadian wildlife. I got that for National Animals, Gather Round Forest Animals of North America, I think is what she called it. But yeah, lots and lots of gorgeous, shiny photos of animals. This one was for King and Country, all about Alberta in the Second World War. One of the things that I want to do for my daughter who's in high school and then my other daughter following is we've been doing not grass history. She's been doing it for 2 years, or no, not 2 years. She'll be doing it for 2 years. So there's one textbook and then a second textbook. So the first textbook she did this year, she'll do the second one next year. And the third year for history, I really wanted to focus on the world wars, maybe first semester, First World War, second semester, Second World War. Let's see how those numbers match up. But I really do want to do a very deep dive on that because I feel like in schools across the country, the world wars are kind of spoken about in kind of here's the Cliff Notes version, and then that's all that you really need to know. And I feel like, especially in the world that we're living in right now, it can get so crazy that most individuals do not know what went into it, why it happened, how to avoid it, all of those things. I once had an argument with a guy who took me out on a date who said Hitler was a genius. And I was like, was he though? And it was something that I was like, okay, the more I talked to him, the more I realized, okay, you're looking at it from, he was a military genius. And I was like, no, he was benefiting from a certain set of circumstances that happened, and he had others involved in it, and he was in fact certifiable. So I really feel like that's something that I want to make sure my kids understand, because I think it informs our future as well. So that one will definitely get pulled out again. This one is the Canadians, the Old West. I think I got this in a thrift store, but it's like, I don't know, it's like pillowy and stuff. But I thought this book was so interesting because it talks about the indigenous peoples. I got away with it. And the fur trade and stuff, like the very beginning of Canada. It's not specific to Alberta necessarily, but it's definitely sharing. And I think in our world, and I don't know if America's exactly like this, but in Canada, there's a huge thing where we're guilty of colonizing and taking over their land, and we do land acknowledgements and butcher the names really, really badly. And the natives were peace loving, and we wrecked it. And so there's a lot of history that needs to be explored and shared with my kids, so that they don't fall into the pitfalls that this society has really fallen into. Were horrible things happened. Were horrible things done and happened to the natives, 100%. And I think it's one of those things that it should be talked about, because now we have a whole, like, it was fine. And, it's like, no, it's just human history, humans and sin nature. And let's actually talk about all of it. So this one's another one I did. It was just of Canada, but of course, because Alberta has these lovely mountains, we get to see all of that. No mountains, but there's photos of Ontario. This is where I grew up, where there was these like just amazing, amazing things. Wildlife. Yeah. Again, I am going to be so blessed with lots and lots of picture books to look at. I did keep the dinosaur bones, what they tell us. This one's a little bit of a younger book, but I figured, especially for Sienna, the words that are a little bit longer, and she loves all things dinosaurs. I have a whole, this is from Scholastic Canada. It talks about Alberta and our land, dinosaurs, frontier Alberta, spirit of the West, and points of pride. I have every province and territory in this series, and they're always really great to pull out. My mother-in-law gave us this one, Alberta Animal Tracks, and so they have little pictures of different animals, and we actually got to see beaver tracks when we went to the river the other day, which was fun. Beautiful Alberta. No, I'm so excited. We're going with my stepmom in the Badlands, where we are close to. We're excited because we're going to go travel the Icefield Parkway, and I'm so thrilled. So excited. Another quintessential Alberta view. And there's another one. So, Seasons in the Rockies is a really, really big one. And again, just gorgeous pictures in this one. And then this one is, again, going back to the frontier of Alberta. It's the Great West before 1900, and some of the pictures are just incredible. And like epic photos that you don't see really anywhere else unless you get one of these books. And again, this was from the thrift store that I really have enjoyed. Yeah. So those were all of the books that I had kind of lying around and available for my kids to look at for the Alberta unit. I hope that this was helpful if you wanted to study any of her states ones. Rebecca Spooner has a whole bunch of like the 50 states. I think she's got Alberta and British Columbia in Canada. But these are the books that I would highly recommend you going out and finding. Your thrift store, local thrift stores are going to be like the best for finding this kind of, just books that are interesting, but also good for your kids to read and look at. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you have a pleasant day, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.